So, the original Star Wars trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, has a total runtime of 6 hours and 28 minutes. Each movie is pretty much the same length, a little over 2 hours, and they're also the same in another respect: the amount of time that they feature the series' main villain, Darth Vader. In terms of actual screen time, Vader gets astonishingly little. In A New Hope, he's in the film for only 8 minutes. In Empire Strikes Back, he's in it for 12 minutes. And in Return of the Jedi, he tops out at about 14 minutes on screen. Put these all together, and Darth Vader, maybe cinema's most iconic villain, if not character in general, flashed across movie screens for a total of only 34 minutes. In this video, I want to take a look at Vader's visual footprint in the original trilogy to see if we can't locate what gives him this iconic status in such a short time. In Episode 4, Darth Vader is only in 6% of the movie, and his scenes are striking in how the character fades into the background, both narratively and visually. For the bulk of Episode 4, Vader is portrayed as the subordinate of Grand Moff Tarkin, so a good portion of his screen time has him in the background or off to the side, cut off, sometimes out of focus. Even when he's being filmed directly, Vader's black uniform fades into the shadows of the set, and there's a noticeable lack of separation between foreground and background. Now, it's hard to say how much of this is a narrative or thematic choice, and how much is down to the constraints of filming. All of Darth Vader's scenes in Episode 4, with the exception of the first, take place in or around the Death Star. Gilbert Taylor, the cinematographer, was famously annoyed with filming these scenes because he didn't like the black and gray sets made by John Barry, which provided little opportunity for targeted lighting. Taylor was actually forced to cut holes in the sets and outfit them with quartz lamps that lit the environment evenly for flexibility in shooting. Flexibility, but not specificity. This is not to say that Darth Vader doesn't make an impact in Episode 4. I mean, this is the film that launched the whole thing. And visually, the movie does make a bold statement out of the gate by introducing Vader right away as a menacing, jet black presence against the white interior walls of a rebel spaceship. But I do think that there's more iconic Vader imagery to come. You see that right away in Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. The first time Vader appears on screen, you get this iconic helmet shot from behind. What's so cool about this shot is that it's essentially black on black, and yet director Irvin Kershner and cinematographer Peter Suschitzky find a way to make Vader stand out with reflections and texture and shape. All throughout the film, they find ways to key into the elemental quality of Vader as an archetypal representation of evil, and they up the ante on the work done in Episode 4. In that movie, Vader's helmet, for example, is dirty, smudged, used. This might have something to do with Lucas's desire to have a naturalistic documentary feel to the movie, something he often argued about with Gil Taylor. But in Empire, the helmet is as smooth as volcanic glass, and always spotlessly clean, so that it features these fat, white reflections, which highlight its shape. Kershner and Suschitzky seemed to understand that visually, Vader increased in dramatic weight the less naturalistic and more pure that he seemed. After all, the most iconic symbols in our culture are the ones that can be boiled down to their basic shape and still be instantaneously recognizable. Episode 5 takes advantage of this with the masterful use of silhouette. It's in these moments that Vader transcends his role as a character in a movie and becomes a symbol for something much deeper and much more universal. The Empire Strikes Back, I think, is inventive with its Darth Vader imagery in a way that both of the other films aren't as much. With only 12 minutes of screen time, the filmmakers do a lot to add to the mystique of the character, and the film features those images of Vader that have seared themselves onto my mind from the very first time I watched it. Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, largely holds on to that pristine look from Empire. It even copies some of the Empire shots exactly. But overall, Jedi is less inspired when it comes to Darth Vader's cinematography. He often looks flat against backgrounds, and the framing and lighting isn't nearly as compelling as Kershner's work on Episode 5. Now, Kershner was so devoted to his own vision that he didn't shoot master shots, which meant that Lucas would have to edit the scenes roughly how Kershner intended them. By most accounts, Lucas hired Richard Marquand as a sort of working man's director for episode 6, somebody who could bring the film in on time and within budget, and give Lucas enough options to construct the film in the edit. As a result, episode 6 lacks the character work that was a signature of Kershner's style. What Jedi does give us is that famous final scene where Darth Vader is finally unmasked. It's a moment that brings the archetype down to earth. The actual face of evil is just the face of a broken man, more pathetic than anything, and in that way, deeply human. Of course, the legacy of Darth Vader isn't all in the visuals. The writing, the costume, and James Earl Jones' vocal performance contribute hugely to the character's continued fame. Even his breathing is iconic. But film is a visual medium, and when all these things are wrapped in the right image, the effect can be mythic. What's amazing is that Lucas and Kershner achieved this in just a handful of minutes, and the impact speaks for itself. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. This episode was brought to you by Squarespace. If you want to make a website and you want it to be a super easy process, Squarespace has some beautiful award-winning designer templates to choose from that makes that process super simple. It's got 24-hour customer service, no upgrades, nothing to install, no patches, ever. And picking your domain name is really easy, whatever you want it to be. You can start your free trial at squarespace.com, and if you use the offer code NERDWRITER, you can get 10% off your first purchase. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.